Tell them what about it though.
Yeah. So they basically said that I'm reading it here. Heather Dench wrote something about an hour ago saying that the College Football Playoff Committee is basically saying that a national champion can still be crowned given COVID protocols if the opponents forfeit the games. So if Alabama and Georgia end up making it and Alabama doesn't have enough players to field a team, they already have a contingency to push it back, but nothing to the point where it's going to go beyond that. So if Alabama has to forfeit, then they'll take that as a...
They're not stupid enough to do that. They'll be smart enough to fix that.
I'm with you, man. I just wasn't sure if
common sense will prevail. It just takes some time sometimes.
All right, so we're taping this Wednesday, 22nd. I feel like I robbed the bank and got away with it. Privileged, blessed, happy to have esteemed guests on the show from College Gameday, Georgia royalty, and a college football Hall of Famer, David Pollack. Welcome to the show, bro. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Appreciate y'all having me.
Man, appreciate you being on the show. I don't know how my boy pulled it off, but I'm blessed. I'm really happy to have you here, man. I got a ton of questions. I know we don't have a whole lot of time. Has it been crazy these past 2 weeks not being active and being on the road? Do you miss the fans at all? I know it's the holidays, but have you run out of things to do at the house before getting back on the road for college football playoff?
No, I think you appreciate the calm once the storm's quieted a little bit. You go pretty hard for 14, 15 weeks. And then now to get some time at home is always fun, especially around the holidays. You get to see, I get to see my wife's family. I get to see my family. We get to spend a lot of time together, do Christmas, which is one of my favorite times of year. Yeah. I love me some Santa. I love me the kids with Christmas, man. I love the spirit. I love the music. I love everything about it. So, we're here at the house. We're at the gym. We're playing basketball games. We got the kids running through here like crazy. We got a bunch of kids that spend the night over here a bunch and a bunch of families. So no, I'm not sick of it yet, but come the 28th, I'll be ready to rock and roll. We'll be at the Orange Bowl. Our crew will be at the Orange Bowl, ready to watch a great game of Georgia and Michigan.
Exactly. I noticed when you listed all that stuff that you like about Christmas, you forgot to mention the snow. We from Chicago up here, so I know Georgia boy, Southern boy. I know you're not used to that.
No, we don't do that. We got. Let me tell you. I'll put it to you like this, dog. We my senior year of high school, one of the schools I visited was Ohio State. It's the first time it's the first time I've ever been on the airplane. Period.
Oh,
I fly up for my official visit, get off the plane. I go, Mama, what in God's name is that? And there was 3, 4, 5 inches of snow on the ground. I'm like, listen. There ain't no way in heck I'm coming up here. Absolutely not am I coming with all that snow. But it just shows you, man, God has a sense of humor because 4 years later, I'm drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals and living in Ohio and
took the words out of my head.
And dealing with the snow all the time. I love visiting the snow and saying hello to the snow. I don't want to live in it like you guys, man. Y'all can't even get outside for like 3 months, man.
1,000%. But you got to count your blessings because you'll be at the championship in a couple of weeks in Indianapolis. So make sure you get a coat from here for here though. Don't come with or get it online. Like figure it out, but don't come with.
I'm a from Denzel. I'll grab one from Denzel. I'll be good.
My guy. So listen, I know you're not a gambler, right? I know this, but I gotta ask you: do you and Dez have something going for the Orange Bowl? Who's between Georgia and Michigan? Is there any push-ups on the line? Is anything?
No, we don't, man. I tell you what, we got till the 28th, before we leave to go down there. And I know we're doing some things together down there, but we're going to come up with something beforehand. There's no way we can't. We got to have something on the line. We got to have some wager, some fight song, something, some challenge, something will be determined before the kickoff of that game. I can promise you that.
He's been hyped too. He's been hyped these past couple of weeks because it's unfamiliar territory. He's not used to having Michigan in the conversation. But Denzel got some footage of him when y'all went to the big house and he was on 1,000 on the field after they beat Ohio State. So I think I'm actually be out there in Miami covering the game, so I'll see you guys out there. Let me ask you this, man. You've been around college football for over 15 years, whether it been in the media or as a player. We already mentioned it. You're the leader in sacks at Georgia all time. The storylines from this season include Marcus Freeman, Brian Kelly. Everybody's kind of been on the move in terms of the coaching carousels. COVID is obviously the number one thing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But just in your perspective, what has been, I guess, your top two or top three storylines from this past college football season, especially coming back off of, a season from last year where there were no fans and just everything was haywire? What have been some of the biggest takeaways from you this season?
Well, I think it's been exciting. Having the fans back and the crowds back and the love for college football has been really cool. And especially when you got time away from it, you appreciate it more. You don't get those who've never had that opportunity to pause and do something without it. So I think the players enjoyed the crap out of it. I think we enjoyed it, so much more now having full crowds this year for us as opposed to a year ago. The coaching portal was a new thing for me. I've never experienced that until this year. My goodness. I mean, coaches leaving left and right. We call it the transfer portal, so I'm going with the coaches portal. I'm gonna coin that phrase for the rest of the season. I guess for the rest of till infinity, because it seems like it's not going to go anywhere. Just crazy, man. You got teams that are in the Final Four chase that your coach is leaving and going somewhere else, and OU's coach leaves and goes to USC, and the storylines with Dabo now having to replace his OC, his DC, who both got head jobs, and replacing his AD. Like, will Clemson be back, to the standard that we've seen them in the past? And then you still got the evil empire now that is Alabama versus the Cinderella Cincinnati. Like, how about that? Like, that's a great, you wanted a chance to come to the playoffs and you wanted to be invited. And, well, now you're getting the king. Now you're getting the team that's been there, done that so many times, and, the greatest coach of all time. And then two true bloods, two big, blue bloods with Michigan and Georgia, who won so many games and have so much history and so much tradition and success in the past year. So I think, we started the season getting fans back. We got more parity than we've ever had. By the way, I don't think that's going to go anywhere either. I think the transfer portal has 100% changed college football, and I do think as much as I thought it was going to make the rich get richer, I don't think that's the case, because the rich already has so much. I mean, right, you're right. How much richer can you get? Alabama disagrees, by the way, because they got more people in the transfer portal, more highly recruited guys. But I think it gives you a chance to plug holes for teams like Arkansas that had issue at nose guard and defensive end, and now they go get two guys that are fourth year, fifth year seniors that can plug holes that instead of playing freshmen. And now you have time to develop those guys and continue to improve. So I think the transfer portal, the coaching portal, we're a long way from Georgia Clemson with a packed crowd and where we started to where we are now. But it's been a fun ride, and I think everybody enjoys college football, and it's second to the NFL for a reason.
Speaking about revolutionary, you mentioned it, the coaches portal. Speaking of coaches, we're talking about Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. I mentioned it last week on our show. He had the biggest interception of his career, and it had nothing to do with him being on the field. Picking up Travis Hunter last week. A lot of criticism behind it. A few folks, Doug Gottlieb came out and made a comment. Dabo Swinney came out and made a comment. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, but in regards to just shedding the light on FCS schools or a lower tier school like a Jackson State, being able to make such a monumental pickup, what does that say for the outlook in terms of moving forward in college football, just on the scale of, like you mentioned it, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the LSUs, the USCs, the Ohio States, all of those heavy hitters, those primetime schools that you're used to seeing at this point. Obviously, the landscape is going to change, and I imagine there's going to be more to come. What's your take on just signing day and just the ability for these lower tier schools to actually feel like they have a chance at nabbing these top tier blue chip recruits now?
I think it's awesome. I think anytime, again, it's funny, we complain every year. I'm so sick and tired of seeing Clemson and Bama and Ohio State. And then it's like we get new teams and they're boring. I'm like, well, shut up. Which one you want, bro? Like you can't complain about both. So I think it's fun, man. The more teams we have competing at the end of the season, the less opt-outs you're going to have. So I see, Travis Hunter. This kid's not just good. This kid's Freaky Friday good. Like he is, and Dion gets him. It kind of just shows you what he's capable of doing. Imagine Dion at a big time university now. Like he gets Travis Hunter to go to Jackson State. Like, are you kidding me?
You saw
if
Florida.
He was at FSU. Who was he getting?
Florida State fans burning their jerseys after the announcement was made because they wanted him as their coach.
Yeah, I mean, just crazy. I mean, listen, whoever gets him next might get both. You might get Travis Hunter too. You can get all of them in the coaches or the transfer portal. But I think it's, man, the more we have in parity and the more teams that are always in it, I think it's fun. I think it's great for the game. Now, listen, the NIL, it changes things for sure, and you could tell, there are some people still that, hey, the love of the game, and and listen, I'm one of those guys. I'm more of an old school guy. I'm just appreciative. Like, I was so appreciative. I don't complain at all that I didn't get paid. I don't complain in the I got an education. Like, I got a free place to stay. That they paid my bills while I was in school. Like, it was a huge blessing for me. And obviously that's changing. And the players are going to get more and more because it is a gazillion-dollar industry that keeps getting bigger. And you see the coaches keep getting more. So I hope we keep somewhat the integrity of the game and the love of the game, and it doesn't become complete chaos and complete transfer portal and complete, like Grayson McCall saying for the Chanticleers. He decided to stay and not transfer, not go to the NFL.
Right.
Like, to me, that's cool. Like, I love seeing teams like that get to keep their guys and have success.
That reminded me of when Leinart stayed for his senior year because that was a big to-do back then. I've been trying to figure out how to ask you this all week. Were you bothered by Brian Kelly when he changed his accent up going to LSU?
I mean, it was weird. Like it was. I think coming from somebody who has had coaches come in their living room and sell you a bunch of crap, like just tell you what you want to hear, and so I'm not surprised by it. Even the videos, man, the videos of him doing the L thing, and it's going to be an interesting fit. What are the things about Brian Kelly? Brian Kelly, he knows how to coach offense. He knows how to be a disciplinarian. He knows how to build culture. He knows how to win, and he knows how to do all that stuff. But I don't think he leaves Notre Dame unless he's like, listen, I'm tired of playing Alabama with one hand tied behind my back. Like, I want to go play these teams with the best of the best. And Louisiana recruits itself every year. You see the state of Louisiana stacked with talent,
always,
and they want to go to the in-state team. It's just there's very little competition. They stay a lot more than they leave. So it was kind of strange. If you know anything about Brian Kelly, very abrasive. He's very he's got a lot of confidence. Okay, that's the way I'll put it. He's not lacking any confidence in himself and his ability to coach. And I think he's saying, listen, I want to go do this at the highest level with the best recruits and the best players in the country. But that's not the first time he'll do something for a player, acquiesce to people to please him and try to get recruits.
Yeah, I think that's what it boiled down to. I didn't pay that much mind to it. Again, like you, I thought it was kind of strange that even so much so that Elle Duncan was on SportsCenter and she spoke to it. But I'm sure he's going to have success there.
Elle
obviously
killed it. That was awesome. Elle was so good. Yeah. I texted Elle after I saw that. I was like, that was flipping awesome. A guy that's in the Midwest, in the North for all of his life, and then all of a sudden she didn't hold any punches. I like that.
Exactly. Everybody's been using that as a soundbite. I can't bring myself to do it, but I wanted to get your take on it. While we're talking about coaches in strange places, Urban Meyer let go during the season in his first tenure as head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of chatter has been going about in regards to obviously his track record. His track record. When they say if he's not motivated anymore at a certain place, he'll find a way out or find an exit in regards to whether it be health or whether it be looking for a different opportunity. I think this is the first time a first-year head coach has been let go in his first year as an NFL head coach. But a lot of folks are saying he's going to end up making his way back to college. I'm not necessarily a believer in that, but stranger things have happened, like we just said in regards to Brian Kelly. How do you feel about the opinion that Urban Meyer might end up getting back into college football and getting coaching a real prominent school with that?
Well, this is the first time I've gotten to talk about Urban, and I've thought about it, a good bit. And I'm not one of those people that I don't attack people's character.
No, not at all.
I've made so many mistakes in my life. And I've messed up, and I have so many reasons for people to look at me and say that you're a failure, or you've done X and you've done Y. So when I say that, I think you got to look at Urban Meyer and his track record now, and how he's built it upon mistake, upon mistake, upon mistake, upon mistake. And I just can't fathom. And my son's 13, so say Urban gets a big job in the next 4 or 5 years, and my son's 17, 18 years old. He ain't visiting an Urban Meyer school. Like, it's not going to happen. So I think that's the way I can say it. I got to believe in you. I got to believe in your mission. I got to believe in your leadership. I got to believe in your character. And he's done a lot of things to disappoint. He's done a lot of things that I probably wouldn't want to spend, a lot of time with him. I mean, kicking a punter and saying, basically F you, the way he talks to people and the hiring of coaches that were suspect in the past. So we could go down a litany of things, but I think the best way I could put it is if I was making a decision, or if it had to do with my family, it's not someone that I would want my kids or my family to be around.
I hear you. And again, like you said, we're not here to kick somebody while they're down. My viewpoint was more so in regards to the notion that he's just going to be able to walk into another college job. When I think about his, track record, his reputation, I think about Rick Pitino, who had a similar journey and ended up having to go back. When he went back to college, he went back and coached a lower tier school after the whole Louisville, after the Boston Celtics.
Bobby Petrino
as well, of course. So it's keep going, keep spitting since we pod, keep it going. DP got bars.
Yeah, I'm just saying, listen, there's a lot of people that have made big mistakes that have gotten second chances, and I'll put Urban in that mix because he's already gotten second chances and third chances. So it takes one, right? Like that's the thing. It only takes one AD, one president, one so hungry to win and so hungry to be back to go, let's pull the trigger because we know he's a great coach. Ain't no denying that. Like, the dude's a great coach.
That's what it boils down to.
Pull the trigger and do it. So, yep.
I want to talk to you about everyday counts. That's something that was really inspiring to me. And I feel like it was spawned from your transition, obviously drafted to the NFL by the Cincinnati Bengals. A huge prospect coming out of college. Played a season and a half, and then obviously had that injury that forced you into retirement. But just the motivation behind that. Talk to us a little bit about, if you can, how Everyday Counts came about, and also how that was able to inspire you to take your talents from playing on the football field into broadcasting, because that's not an easy transition. I know a lot of you guys, including yourself, make it look easy, but when athletes come off the field and they think that they can just go into a booth, it's the furthest thing from easy. And I see it every day. So just talk to us a little bit about Everyday Counts and that transition.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't think if you heard me on radio 13 years ago, you wouldn't have said it sounded easy, dog. It was so bad, man. The English language was, listen, hey, defense is about see ball, get ball, okay? There ain't a lot of thinking, there ain't a lot of thought process. We are not the smartest guys typically on the field. But listen, so I broke my neck. I'm in my halo, and so I benched 455 when I was in college. And that sounds like a lot, but trust me, we had guys like – that sounds like a lot, but we had Ben Watson who benched, almost 600 pounds, and we had probably 20 guys that were in the 500 club.
Avengers.
When I got cleared, so I had my halo for 4 months, and then I had my neck brace for 6 months, and then I had surgery, and then I had my neck brace for another 6 months, and I got cleared to finally work out. And I'll never forget this. I benched 135 twice, and it literally was as much as it's all I had. Like, it was shaking uncontrollably on the way up for the second rep, and I literally remember I got discouraged for a minute, and I was like, listen, dude, where you were is not where you're at. Like, let's stop looking at where we were. And I'm like, I'm going to make every single day count. I'm going to live intentionally for today. I'm going to make goals for today and make sure that tomorrow I'm better. And one of the phrases, one of the things that came to me is like, listen, no one's to blame for where you're at right now. You're to blame if you're there tomorrow. And the next step. So, it's kind of a mindset that I started to develop about small victories. And then that led into an everyday counts challenge where every Thanksgiving we do from Thanksgiving Day to January 1st, walk, run, bike, elliptical, whatever it is, 1 mile a day. So everybody can feel really good about checking that one box, making it intentional. Yeah. And when you make it intentional, you start living intentionally and you start living with a bigger purpose. So it's been really cool to see it develop and to see it grow. But it was literally born out of, honestly, it was born out of frustration and failure for me and starting over and trying to find a way to make it, a game within a game or successful every day that I could challenge myself to continue to grow and not worry about what I used to be able to do.
Right on. Well said, man. I love it. I tapped into it early on, even before, we got a chance to work together and locked in with Denzel. I thought that was something that was super inspiring. Again, going into broadcasting, because you're saying, like, yeah, my football career is over, but I still have a story to tell. I still got a lot to give the sport of football. Getting an opportunity to be at ESPN. You're the youngest on the crew, no? As far as Corso Herbstreit, Reese. Yeah. Is that ever from day to day? And you've been there over a dozen years now, huh?
Yeah, I've been there. Shoot, I've been there 10 plus years. I lost count, but I'm, Reese is in his 50s several years, Kirk's in his 50s several years, Desmond's in his 50s several years, and then obviously Coach is 87, I believe. So I'm not even in my 40s yet, so I definitely am a little bit behind. But I've gotten a lot of chances to learn. Because, hey, when I started at ESPNU, I'll never forget, I started at ESPNU, and I would literally click the talkback button, and I go, hey, can I say this? And they're like, oh, don't say that. And I was like, okay. And I was like, all right, click it again. Can I say this? And they're like, no, you can't say that. I was like, crap, man, what can I say? But, no, I've definitely gotten a chance to come on and learn, man. And that's the thing. I'll never forget. So I was not made for this stuff. Like, it took a lot of work and it took a lot of grind to figure out who I was and what I was. But I used to watch everybody, on screen. And first of all, so I was in my halo, and I'll never forget. First of all, I didn't graduate from Georgia, so I didn't really have a plan outside of football. From the time I was 6 years old, like, I'm going to be a football player. That's what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'll never forget. I was in my halo, and I would watch Mike and Mike in the morning, and I would watch Kirk Herbstreit and them and Game Day, and I'm sitting there and listening to them talk, and I was like, all right. So I went to my agent, and I go, hey, if I can't play football again, I think I could do broadcasting. And like, really? And they're like, why? I was like, well, I'm opinionated. I'm obnoxious. I think I'm always right. Like, I think I check a lot of boxes that that these guys check. So that's literally how I started to think about getting into broadcasting. And then before my son was born in Ohio, I flew down right before he was born and interned for a day. I guess that's not an internship, but I sat in for a day and did a 4 to 7 afternoon drive in Atlanta. And it was very, very difficult, man, because you think about in person, you can use hands and smiles and facial expressions.
Yeah,
and then
right.
in radio, you got to paint the picture. And let me tell you something, dude, when you got to do reads, like I had to do reads for Pro Flowers, like I wish I could find some of those now because ain't nobody buying flowers for my read. Like, it was like, hey, guys, call 1-800-12-flowers. Get your girl something nice for the. It was so bad, like so bad. So, it's not something that I ever thought I was going to do, but watching those guys have fun, talk about ball, keeping ball in their lives, I was like, that would be fun. And then learning along the way, what you're good at. Watching people really taught me. I watched, certain people. I'm like, I like that they do this. One of the critiques I get, I live right in Georgia. Like I live right 15 minutes from campus. Biggest critique I get all the time from Georgia fans. Why do you pick against
Why
us?
do you never pick Georgia?
Why won't you pick us?
Yep,
why don't you pick us? Yeah. And I'm like, dude, when I started out in the business, Lou Holtz was a commentator. Lou Holtz picked Notre Dame, South Carolina, Arkansas, every single time he was on air because he coached at those schools. So every time he started talking about it, I tuned him out. I was like, well, I know he's going to pick there. And so I didn't listen. And have respect for me and trust my opinion, not be, a Georgia shill or a homer. So, you listen, you learn, and that's how you kind of, figure out who you're going to be. And then you screw it up a lot. I'm sure you've done it too. And you can't pronounce things or you stick your foot in your mouth. And I did plenty of that growing up, especially at ESPNU. But the good thing was usually it was like 12 to 2 a.m. and it wasn't nobody watching.
And nobody heard it. You mentioned something earlier too. You said you used the word obnoxious, and I wouldn't categorize you as that. But talking to Denzel, he said one of the things about you, again, and it speaks to you being the youngest on the crew, is your ability to have almost endless energy or to have that enthusiasm. And for most people that don't know, game day isn't just put together. It doesn't. You don't flip a light switch and it just comes on at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. We're up at 1:30, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, making sure you guys are straight, making sure everything is situated, making sure you're ready to rock and roll. But he said you will pop up on set while everybody else is on the maybe second or third cup of coffee, but you'll pop up on set like you're ready to hit the tunnels at an NFL game out of nowhere. Where do you find that energy? Where do you find that inspiration? Because again, it's a different game broadcasting, and then you're on set, but it's completely different energy from the fans you would get at an NFL or at a college football stadium versus having to talk to a camera, but you're still talking to millions of people. Where do you find that energy from?
Man, every day's a gift, man. Every opportunity is a blessing. I don't want to ever lose sight of that, man. Life's fun. Like I tell my kids all the time, like I coach them in basketball, I coach them, my son in football, I coach my daughter in softball. I'm like it's never. I can't stand when people say I have to do this. I get to do this.
Right, exactly.
Like my son said something today. We were in the gym. He was like, well, I have to do this. I was like, no. You get to do this. Like, I have an opportunity to do this. And I think one of the coolest things about my job is, like, all the fans that we get an opportunity to get in their lives for a little bit sometimes and to go make their day and, smile with them and take a picture with them and, to be around Denzel and the crew, man. Dude, you want to talk about working hard. They work 10 times harder than we ever thought about working. We just pop up on camera a little bit more, and what we do is more seen. Like, they do the hard stuff behind the scenes. So, I think God gave me that perspective a long time ago at a young age. I've always had a lot of energy, but, man, I'm not going to waste a day. I'm not getting this back. I ask my kids every day, every single day, I'm like, listen, who can ruin your day? And they say, nobody. Nobody has that power, man. And I also say almost every single day, which, again, I have a lot of things I'm obnoxious that I say almost every day. I ask Lee all the time, I was like, hey, baby, it's a great day. And she says, to have a great day. That's right, because today is a great day, and we don't have it. So, I think we work with a bunch of people that are flipping awesome, and been around all these people for a number of years, from people like Lindsay Lloyd that do all the stuff behind the scenes. I mean, Kirk and Reese have, kind of taken me in over the years and showed me the ropes and taught me how to do things. And, you got Hitting, who was there before Jimmy G, and Gallagher, and, the list goes on and on of all these people that we get to work with, and we get to go do a show on campus about college football. Like, that's our life, man. That's a good one.
I'll take it. A couple more questions before we get you out of here. So, you were a guy football player at Georgia. You're a professional football player. You're a broadcaster. Now you're a podcaster. You and Pastor Jay, Family Goals. I tapped into it. I burned through all of them. I'm learning a whole bunch, and I already subscribed to it. Make sure y'all tap into Family Goals. It's a really dope podcast about family and faith. I'm trying to get to that point where, again, you are the thing about it, the takeaway from it that I get is not just the insight, but the fact that it's 30 minutes. It's not like a crazy amount of time where you have to sit with it, but you soak up a ton, and it's like bite-sized almost. I can do it when I'm working out, when I'm cooking, when I'm on the drive to work or to the airport or this or that. Just talk to me about the podcast, how it came about, because for me, our pod started, it was an inception from COVID. From lockdown. We still had a story to tell, still enthusiastic about sports. How can we have our voices heard? So just give me a little bit about how you and Pastor Jay decided to come up with the concept of Family Goals.
Pastor Jay came to me a little while ago, last Father's Day, and he was like, hey, I want you to do the service with me for Sunday for church. And so he came over, and he came to my gym, and he sat down, and we kind of did a sermon together about, and I called it just Family Goals, because I like to get with my kids, and I taught my friends, like, hey, sit down with your kids and make family goals. Make their goals, not your goals, make their goals. What do they want to accomplish? What are their dreams? What is the most important things for them? Like, and so, we did it on that Sunday, and then it was like, hey, man, he said, you should write a book about this stuff, and we should do a book. And then we talked about that, and he's like, we should just do a podcast, and share it. And then we could take that, and they can take, a book writer can take that and go, write a book from it. So that's kind of how it got started. It's getting better, and we're refining, what we want to do, but we do want to keep it short. But man, parenting's hard. Like,
you'll see
as you grow in your journey. Yeah, you'll see as you grow in your journey. We're all at different stages. And listen, there ain't no handbook for this stuff. And so we're trying to tell you where we screwed up, where we possibly did it right, ways to maybe talk to your kids in a different way. And I think that's the genesis of it. And like Foxworthy was our first guest,
yeah.
Jeff Foxworthy, and everybody knows he's a comedian and an actor and all that stuff. But literally, Jeff heard about my podcast with the parenting, and he texted me and said, "I want to come on."
Yeah.
Like, I didn't ask him to come on. He literally was like, "I want to come talk about parenting. Like, I want parents to hear about this." And then we talk about marriage and how people don't put their spouse first. Like, I see so many families around here, right where I live, that the kids come first. Like, and the importance of and we try to give tangible steps. Like I tell my kids all the time, the most important person to me is that lady right there, your mother.
There you go.
That's the most important. You don't come first. She was before you, and she's going to be here after you. And just, kind of setting the man being the spiritual leader of the house. And how are you going to incorporate things in your life? How are you going to make church a priority when everybody thinks youth league sports needs to be the priority? So I think we covered, all those different type of things, man. But that's fun, man, because that's on mission. That's what the troubling thing is. It's hard to live intentionally in life. We get caught up in doing what we're doing. Like, what's your goal? What's your purpose? Like, why do you exist? Like, let's go get them, not just talk about them all the time. Let's be about what we talk about and be about action. And so that's kind of how it came about and how it literally came to life.
Yeah, the first season was great. I know you guys, obviously because of college football, it'll be back rocking and rolling real soon. One of the things that I did want to ask you about in regards to the podcast was your faith, and we don't have to get too in depth on it. But one of the things that I wanted to ask you was to think retroactively for a second. Had you not had your injury, had you still continued to play for the Bengals, you speak very, very, very candidly on the show about, hey, I'll take the last flight out in order to, make sure that I get to the game or get to the show, but I'm getting back home so that I can make it to church on Sunday mornings. Obviously, football is played on Sundays. Was there ever any point of contention with you playing for the Bengals at that time? Like, man, we're playing on Sundays outside of Monday Night Football. How am I going to make this work, or how am I going to be able to get to night service or things like that? Was that ever something that was challenging for you at the time?
I think we're all going to have challenges and decisions we're going to have to make, and priorities we're going to have to set, whether it's Sunday nights, whether it's Wednesday nights, whatever it is, whether we justify it with jobs or things that we have to do or sports, whatever it is. I think we're always going to have choices and decisions to make. And, my son's baseball team, they play Saturdays for seeding, and they play Sundays in the tournament, and it's an elimination tournament. And so my coaches, a couple of years ago when we started this thing, we won't be there every Sunday. We're not going to miss church 4 Sundays out of the month. That ain't going to happen. Like, that's more important. Like, we had Wednesday night practice last year for my son's travel basketball team. We went to church. Like, he went to church. I'm like, what's more important, buddy? Like, what's going to last the test of time? It ain't going to be basketball. Like, so I think all of us, every year, every week, we all have decisions to make. I just know for me, I want to be about it. I want to live my faith. My faith is so important to me, and I want my kids to see that too. And it's not an option. Like, we're going to be in church almost every single Sunday. Not every Sunday. There's things that come up that we'll travel sometimes, we'll work and be gone. But we were at UCLA. Denzel obviously was with us too. We're at UCLA and we're out west. And I took the first flight I could to get home to make sure I made church Sunday morning. So I think it's about prioritizing. But here's the reason that's most important. I know about my faith, and if I miss a Sunday, it's not going to be the end of the world. But I want my kids to see that church is more important than anything else we do. Like, that is numero uno, not basketball, not going to the movies, not hanging out with your friends. Like, and then they crave it. We go to a church that's on Wednesday nights so we're there twice a week. Like, I want my third place, outside of, or I want my biggest places for my kids. When you think about first place, second place, third place, like, my biggest places outside of my house. Like, I want church to be high on that list. I got you. If we're not here, I want to go to church. I want to do this. So, but it's all of us, man. We're going to have things come up. We're going to have things that can distract us, but I think we got to show them an example of this is number one. This is most important. We don't flinch on this. We can flinch on sports. You miss a practice, it ain't the end of the world. Like, if you're not in the elite of the elite teams that travel every weekend, and guess what? Here's newsflash for all those parents. That ain't getting you to the NFL. That ain't getting you to the major leagues. Like, you either going to have it or you ain't. And it ain't got nothing to do with you playing basketball, baseball, or football every Sunday and skipping church.
And I feel like Corso like that too. I remember after the Michigan State game, he went straight to Saturday Mass. And I was like, what? And Fool was like, anytime it's local, he gonna get there.
Yeah. A lot of players in the NFL, they have chapel. Yeah. They have a team pastor. You get your word in. You fill yourself with faith. So I wanted to get your perspective on that because it's a question that I've been approached with when we'll have NFL games or we'll have stuff that has to do with sports and it carries over into a Sunday. You make it. You make sure that you make it. Even in the pandemic, when your church or your chapel wasn't open, how are you still getting your word? Are you doing it virtually? Are you tapping in with your pastor or with your church group? I know you have a group text or group chat with guys at church as well when you guys are doing mentorships and handling your youth. So this is something that I wanted to get perspective on from you.
And tell them how you give the word out to all
Well,
your followers every morning.
Thing,
Go ahead, DP.
I want to hear it.
No, I was. It was just saying part of the connection that even got this interview situated was the fact that I'll post a Bible verse a day
every morning,
and that's one of the things that even aligned me with Denzel in the first place. How we kind of developed our friendship more is the fact that we're both up early, but he knows that I'm up and I'm moving around if he sees a Bible verse. If I'm in the airport, if I'm on set somewhere. When he doesn't see it, that's when he's alarmed. Like, hey, is everything cool? Is everything all right? I ain't see you post a verse this morning. I need my word. So that's just one of those ties that bind in regards to, finding your flock and making sure that you stay aligned with your folks. So, yeah, man, it's one of those things that he said that he shared with you, and that was part of the reason that we were able to make this connection in terms of getting the interview going.
Oh, show.
I asked that. I got one more question for you. Two more questions, actually. College Football Hall of Fame. What does that mean to you? I know it's kind of open-ended. It's kind of like a Rorschach test when they hold the painting up and they go, "Tell me what you see when you see this." Did you ever? Was that ever one of your goals? Did you ever see yourself being mentioned among those greats? Was that even your intention, or were you just playing because you love it? What is the College Football Hall of Fame mean to David Pollack?
It's a great question, and I've been asked it a lot, and it's something that I've struggled to answer with my kids, and I've talked to them about it and stuff too. Because here's the God's honest truth is I don't care. That's the God's honest truth. Like, the reason that I think it's really, really cool is because I get to do a couple things. I get to tell my coaches thank you that helped me get there. Because if you poll anybody up there, ain't nobody got there alone. I got to fly my mom and daddy out with me and tell them thank you. Like, they sacrificed so much of their time, of their resources, like of their lives to make sure that I got to play a kid's game and to have fun. You know what my parents didn't do? My parents didn't put me in private lessons. My parents didn't put me in private workouts. My parents didn't make me go to 30,000 camps. Like, the reason I was ultra successful was because my parents let me be a kid and play a kid's game and have a blast. Like, so, Eddie Shaddix was my high school football coach, my defensive line coach, that when my sophomore year I wasn't playing, I got to tell him thank you so much, because after my sophomore year I kind of quit and I was done with football, and he talked me into coming back out and working out. And then all of a sudden I hit puberty and start growing like crazy and start killing people. But I don't do it without him. I don't do it without my daddy as my youth league football coach teaching me. Like, I think it's a really, really cool thing that I get to stop, while I'm here and make sure that I get to thank the people that help you get there, because you don't get anywhere alone. Anywhere. Like, you everybody that's successful on this planet, they didn't do it alone. They had help. And so I was just very thankful. Even to Coach Rick, who tells the story all the time to me. He makes fun of me about it, but we do a men's group every Sunday morning. But he, they put my name on the board at Georgia, and they went around and they said, this is what they do in recruiting. They'll put your name up, and then all the coaches will say, "What do you think about him?" And it went around the room from this coach to this. And it got around to Coach Rick. And I tell this to everybody that I speak to when I go speak. And he goes, he's tough. He plays hard. He cares a lot. Like, he's got good character. Like, when whatever job you're in, if you're in school, whatever, if people say that if they know you care about them and they know you care about your work, and they will help you. They will 100% help you. If they don't think you care, people ain't going to help you. Like, so, but Coach Rick saw those other attributes and said that, and then all of a sudden I get to Georgia and they come in as a fullback. Everybody got hurt at defensive tackle my freshman year. I moved to defensive tackle. Everybody left for the NFL. Bruce Adrien, Josh Villard, Charles Grant, Jonathan Sullivan, or all those guys leave, go to the NFL. So they stick me at defensive end, which I've never played a day in my life for spring ball, just because of bodies. And all of a sudden, I was doing okay, but I was getting beat. And then all of a sudden I started working and getting better and getting better and getting better. And then, the next thing you know, you look up and you have success. So, that's what's always cool, man. It's always cool you get to thank those people. It's not about individual awards because, that's what my son said. My son said, "You don't really care, Daddy, about that stuff, do you?" And I was like, "No." I said, "That's not what's important to me." So he says that to me. He says that to me all the time because I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that nice ring or that nice trophy or plaque." And I was like, "Hey, buddy, where is that going?" He's like, "In the storage room in the basement." I was like, "Yep." Where it's going.
That's funny. That's funny. When we saw the video, he seemed more excited about it than you were. You seemed more confused that they were there, that they were even there, let alone that was the announcement. But that's just the humility about you, man.
Yeah. I was like, "What are y'all doing here?"
Like, y'all know I'm working, right? Like, come on. Last question. I need some dirt, man. Who snores on the bus? Who picks their nose before you guys go on the air? Who's always late on set? You don't have to dime everybody out, but I need one. Matter of fact, don't even give me a name. Just say there is someone that's always late or that's always at the 11th hour coming before we go on.
I'll give you the name too. I ain't worried about that. Desmond walks on set every week.
I knew you. Hey, stop talking about my uncle, man.
The show starts at 12. Like, the show starts at 12, and listen, he's like, I'm good, but everybody else is just sweating like crazy. Coach, I'll give you some dirt on Coach, not dirt, but Coach every week goes to meetings in the morning, paces back and forth. The headgear gets there, he's kind of cool, he's good to go. Proceeds after meetings to go to the table where all the food is and hold his bag out and just scoop all the
trick or treat
into his bag because Coach will literally be in his jammies at 4 o'clock going to sleep, but he'll have crushed his food beforehand. Kurt, I don't have that much dirt on Kurt. Denzel, you got any dirt on Kurt? You don't want to say it. You're going to get yourself in trouble.
I don't know about Kirk, honestly.
I mean, Kirk is one of the biggest professionals you'll ever meet. Kirk is very, buttoned up. Kirk and Reese killed me about dress shoes, and they have for 10 years. Kid, wear dress shoes. You need to be a professional. I'm like, old man, shut up. I like dress shoes. I'm comfortable.
I'm behind the desk. They can't even see my shoes. They can't see my pants. Nothing.
None of that stuff, and they were like, look, you gotta look the part. You look the part. You said snoring. If anybody's gonna do that, it'd probably be Bear. My boy Bear might get on the bus a little bit, but it's so cool, man. All this the thing you miss about football and the thing you miss about sports, and especially team sports, I don't miss knocking the piss out of people for 2 hours. Nobody misses that crap. Nobody misses being in the 100-degree heat and, grinding for that long. You know what you miss? You miss your brothers in the locker room. You miss your boys. You miss busting chops and making bets like you were talking about earlier with Dez. That's the stuff you miss. And we had that with Coach and Reese and Kirk and Dez and Bear and then you got Denzel and you got Lindsay Lloyd, and you got this cast of characters, and every week we come together with a common goal, with a common purpose, and we all have individual tasks, but all of it is important for it to get done, and that's what's, I think, really, really cool, and that's one of the things, I need football in my life, man. If football got taken away from me, way too soon, my second year in the NFL, I was still, 23 years old, and my dream from when I was 6 was to play football in the NFL, and I finally got to where I wanted to get, but to think about a life with no football, man, that would be scary. I love having a reason to watch tape and work and be competitive. And so, that's the fulfillment you have and knowing each other's dirt and being able to talk trash when we get on site and make fun of each other and all that stuff, man. It just leads to, a great team, great fun, great show.
Well said, man. We're going to get you out of here on this. Beyond all of the accomplishments that you've had so far, I see you got your hat on right now. You're coaching your youth team. Do you see a career after game day or even during game day in the form of high school or even college coaching down the road for you?
1,000%.
Oh my God.
You know, I would say, you know, it was probably 6-7 years ago. And, you know, we were going through some stuff in my life, and life was one of the more challenging times probably that I've ever had. And I started coaching my son's youth league team. And I just I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what I was missing. And once I started getting that group and we started talking to them and like, what do you control? And they're yelling attitude and effort and teaching these kids. And then you take them from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 12 this year. And to be able to take them and teach them what it's like, to teach them how to embrace hard times, to teach them what it looks like to fail, what it looks like to succeed, what it looks like to be a great teammate. You know, it's definitely a part of me that has been fulfilled like crazy. And I've loved every second of it. And I don't have a clue what God's going to bring my way. But I just can't imagine and can't fathom not having an opportunity to pour into people's lives, to help them, to be what Eddie Shaddix, I told you, I called my coach to help me get to the Hall of Fame, like to be to somebody, to help them realize, you know, what they can be, what the game can do for them. So I think it's just a matter of when. I know I want to be a big part of my kids' lives, and that's why I don't do it now. That's why I didn't jump into it. Coaching is taxing. Like, you got to spend a lot of time with other people's kids, and a lot of times the people that get neglected is your own. And, you know, my son's 13 now and in 7th grade, and I want to be a big part of whatever he's got going on, whatever that is, man. I don't care what it is. And I don't care what level it is. I'm not looking for my son to be a college athlete. I'm not looking for him to be a professional athlete. I want him to enjoy the crap out of high school. If he's worse at every sport because he plays all three and he has fun and he stays out of trouble, winning. Like, absolutely winning. I want my daughter to be involved in basketball because it keeps her busy. I want her to do her musical theater stuff. It keeps her busy. So coaching is just, man, there's something about it that is, for me, it fulfills something in my soul that, you know, honestly, I didn't know was there until 5 or 6 years ago when I started with Nicholas's team, and then it's just grown and grown and grown. And now, you know, this morning I had, you know, 7 kids at my house. I was training them in the weight room, like, you know, different ages. You know, 2 nights ago, the same thing. Like, we got them in there and we're playing basketball. And, you know, how can we take them and realize how important little things are and little goals and little workouts, and then take them to be men and to be women. So it's definitely something that's a lot of fun.
I can't wait to see it, man. Number 1 in the nation with a bullet for over 10 years plus. ESPN's College Game Days on. College Football Hall of Famer David Pollack. Thank you so much for coming on the show, big dog. Appreciate you. And when I say big dog, I mean D-A-W-G.
Appreciate you, man. It was fun, man.
Merry Christmas to you and the family.
Keep killing it, bro. This was really fun, man.
I appreciate that, man. It means a lot coming from you. I'll see you in Miami. Make sure you have that coat for Indianapolis packed, though.
Miami?
All right, brother. Thank you.